Here we are. The headlines this morning are extraordinary. There's not very much going on. Everyone is taking a deep breath, waiting for the inauguration this coming week as we gather at the crossroads of audacity and strategy. I won't say audacity and sagacity, but there is no sagacity. There's no wisdom at all here. There's just time consuming and time playing. And Farage, the ever irrepressible leader of Reform UK, has set his sights, it seems, on Downing Street. Well, I thought we knew this. A goal he's declared must be achieved before Donald Trump exits the White House in January 2029. I've got to do it before Donald Trump gets out of the White House. Now, oh, by the way, somebody compared my impression of Nigel Farage with my impression of Thatcher and said that the Farage impression, my cod cockney, was not very good. Well, it wouldn't be very good if it was cod cockney. It's not. It's it's an attempt to reproduce the language used by Tony Curtis in the film Some Like It Hot when he is imitating Cary Grant. And I thought that was an interesting angle on Farage. So I'm not attempting to imitate Farage. I'm attempting to imitate Tony Curtis imitating Cary Grant as a way to conjure up the spirit of Farage. Just to get that very clear. I've said it a few times, and one or two people have observed it and have identified it. So that's nice. But a lot of people think I'm doing a Dick Van Dyke. There's only one Dick in this story. And Nigel Farage has... I should stop the sentence there, shouldn't I? Nigel Farage's ambition, outlined in the middle of champagne toasts at a pre-inauguration party in Washington, D.C., is nothing short of monumental and strategically tinged with urgency. It's all very urgent. And Farage has long been a maestro of political rhetoric, but his language in D.C. was particularly revealing, describing Trump's return as a political tide set to sweep across the Western world. Farage painted himself as Britain's Trumpian counterpart, ready to surf that wave into power. Yet, underlying the bravado is a clear message. Farage does not trust in Trump's longevity, nor in J.D. Vance's potential as a successor. To Farage, Trump is a fleeting force, and Britain's opportunity to align with his presidency, or Farage's opportunity to align with his presidency, is equally ephemeral. Trump is finished for Farage, and Farage has no faith in anyone else. That is the message he's actually saying. He's not standing there and saying, Trump is banging. It's there's no banging going on in Trump's life, and Trump is, to use the other language from the street, Trump is a loser. And Farage's approach is strikingly different from his earlier fiery rhetoric. Gone are the inflammatory slogans of breaking point. Instead, Farage now champions a pro-control immigration policy, distancing himself from past controversies. His softer tone appeals to pragmatism, stating, "We're not putting up the barriers entirely," while acknowledging the need for skilled workers to bolster sectors like tech and crypto. Actually, the point is, this skilled workers thing, we don't just need skilled workers in Britain, we need non-skilled workers. We need people to come in here and pay tax so that the ageing population can draw on its pension. That is the blunt reality. And Farage's pivot might raise eyebrows, but he's actually started reading the information. Has the architect of Brexit truly mellowed? No. He's started doing the work. He's started doing the work that people like Kemi Badenoch cannot be bothered to do. It's not a tactical shift, it's a recognition of reality, that Britain needs migrants. Reform UK's manifesto promises bold economic reforms, raising the income tax threshold to £20,000, slashing bureaucracy, cutting wasteful government spending. Fine. But critics have labelled these plans vague and financially untenable, likening them to Liz Truss's ill-fated economic experiment. Absolutely. Farage however, insists he's learned from Truss's mistakes, promising a cautious, phased approach to tax cuts. But tax cuts are a way forward. The carrot-and-stick welfare strategy, aiming to nudge the jobless into work, exemplifies this blend of populism and pragmatism. But you've got to do slightly more than that. And recent polls place Reform UK neck and neck with Labour and the Tories, but Farage's path to power is obstructed by Britain's first-past-the-post system. So, Reform, even with its large base, only won 5 seats in the 2024 election, despite securing 14.3% of the vote. Farage, ever the optimist, vows to professionalise the party, citing his second-place finish in 98 constituencies as evidence of untapped potential. But the Lib Dems have been saying this for decades, and they're still in a position where they are clearly third party. But third party perhaps no more should the Conservative Party fracture under the weight of Reform's propaganda. And Farage's relationship with Trump remains a double-edged sword, just as his relationship with the Conservatives, just as his relationship with the British people. While the association with Trump boosts Farage's populist credentials, his open reliance on Trump for political capital risks alienating British voters wary of American influence. His offer to mediate UK-US trade deals under Trump's administration underscores this dependency, but also highlights his ambition to position himself as a transatlantic bridge. His urgency to seize power before Trump's exit reflects a lack of confidence in a second term for Trump, or the emergence of a comparable ally in the White House. By framing his ascent as part of a broader political revolution, or limited little explosion, a gesture towards the flatulence that is Trump, Farage tries to galvanise support while the populist winds are still favourable. Farage's bid for number 10 is a fascinating blend and bold ambition, carried on the winds of change, the slightly pungent odour of strategic recalibration and political optimism and opportunism. And whether he succeeds or not, one thing is certain. Farage's relentless pursuit of power will keep the political establishment and the headlines on high alert. His gamble is audacious, his rhetoric is calculated, his timing is tight. In his own words, via Tony Curtis, "I do believe I can become the next Prime Minister. I just hope it happens quickly, while Donald Trump is still in office and the winds of change are blowing across like a sniff in the dark, Tick-tock, Mr. Farage. Tick-tock.